Good evening, adventurers. Today we're going to be installing the SmittyBilt Gen 2 Annex on the Gen 2 XL tent. We're going to take a tour and review it, and we're going to tell you exactly why we felt it was a must-have for our adventures.
You left me all alone, yeah, outside in the cold. Wanted to come over, wanted you to know how I'm getting over. Like a centerfold, your heart is fucking cold. I'm better off. I'm better off alone. I'm better off alone. I'm better off alone.
Now, the only thing the Annex came with was the Annex itself, a carrying case, some stakes, another SmittyBilt light, and some instructions which only show you how to install it on the smaller SmittyBilt tent, not the XL. So we're going to have to figure this out. With installing this, we have two concerns. One of them is the overhaul HD truck rack. The cross rails are actually going to interfere with the installation of the Annex. This might mean that we have to shift our rooftop tent over to the right just a little bit. The other concern that we have with installing it is that the ladder goes inside the Annex. That's going to change how we install it in the order of operations. With the ladder being inside the Annex, we have to put the Annex on the ground, put the ladder inside of it, and then install the Annex itself. So let's get to it. Think about like a changing station.
Oh god, this is perfect.
You know, a bathing station. All right, adventurers, that was a pretty easy install. However, we did discover a few things that we're going to have to change to make it a little bit more efficient. While they aren't necessarily problems for us at this point, they will become problems in the future. Like I mentioned, we are going to have to shift our rooftop tent over to the right, and I'll show you why that is. And then we'll take a look at a couple things that they changed from the Gen 1 to the Gen 2 that we like and we don't like. But I promise you, the Annex is a game changer and is a must-have depending on what you're trying to do. It does add another element of setup and breakdown that does take more time. So there is a pro and a con to having the Annex. One of the things that they changed from the Gen 1 to the Gen 2 is, if I remember correctly, the Gen 1, all three sides had a door. On the Gen 2, only one side has a door. I'm not so sure I like this. If you're like us and you have an awning on your truck, which ours actually extends all the way around the back of the truck, it would be nice to have this be a door so that you can walk straight through to the covered area behind the truck in the event of inclement weather. There technically is only one door. Sorry for the bright sun there. And it is on this side. Now, depending on how you have your tent configured, like us, ours opens up to the passenger side of the vehicle. It would be nice if there were two doors so that you could pass through the Annex. Having just the one door, if it were raining, means that you would have to come out and all the way around to the back of the truck to get underneath the awning to do cooking or whatever the case is to get out of the rain. One of the complaints that people have about this Annex is when they mount it to their tent, there's a lot of extra material down at the bottom. We're pretty fortunate in that our truck is rather tall and our rooftop tent is mounted fairly high. So we don't have a lot of extra material at the bottom. As a matter of fact, ours is at the exact height that you would want it. Now, some of the benefits of this that we discovered, I'm about 6 feet tall, and it makes it very difficult to change clothes in the rooftop tent. So it gives us a place to stand up, change our clothes, as well as washcloth bathe when you're out dispersed camping. It's a great place to hang out if it is inclement weather. Now, it is important to note that the Annex is not meant for extreme weather conditions. It works just fine whether you're in the rain or in the sun. The material for the Annex is much thinner than the material for the rooftop tent. The material on the rooftop tent, I believe, is a 600D. The material for the Annex is slightly thicker than the material for the Rainfly for the rooftop tent. So it is a thicker material, but it's not as thick as the tent itself. Now, going inside, it does interfere with our HD overhaul truck rack. As you can see, the cross rails are right here. This is meant to zip where the cover for the rooftop tent zips up to, but honestly, it's not really a problem for us. We could actually adjust it and slide the rooftop tent to the right a little bit more, so we could zip that back in, but we really don't need to. It has a door allowing access to the back of the truck. This is probably more beneficial if you have an SUV and you need access to the back of your SUV. For us, it's really not beneficial. However, it does allow some access to the back of the truck to get into the cooler if you needed to, but that's not really how we camp, so it's not an issue for us. It is a great place to hang your shower bag and do some light bathing if you need to. It's got a very sturdy, very thick floor, so it is a great place to stay dry if you need to. Now, unfortunately, given all the pros that this has, there are a couple cons. One of those cons is that you have to completely remove the rooftop tent cover, which adds an extra step in your setup and breakdown. The Annex itself is really easy to set up, and it's fairly easy to break down and put away. It does come with a carrying case, as well as a strap to keep it rolled up, which makes it quite nice. However, if you are setting up in the rain, like we had to do multiple times, and setting up in the dark, it does add a little extra difficulty and a little extra time in doing so. It does come with stakes to stake it down, and it makes a nice place for you to put things when you go for a hike. We do think it's a worthwhile product to have. It's a great place to stand up and bathe, change your clothes, and it is nice to actually take your shoes off in here, because any of you with a rooftop tent probably know that that shoe bag is kind of a pain in the butt to get your shoes in. You're having to balance and lay down to put your shoes in there and get them out. It is nice to actually have a place to put your shoes, kick them off, and climb up the ladder and go to bed. Now, another benefit to this, if you have kids, it does offer kind of another sleeping area. There is plenty of room to sleep underneath the ladder in there. So it does offer another sleeping area, or perhaps an area for your dog. But you can fit a whole other cot and bed in here, or a great place for your dog to be. And breaking it down, it's just as simple as setting it up.